Time now for the Nick Hart Show. It's presented each week by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including A&T Concrete, ADG Architecture and Design Group, Agrigold, All Trade Solutions LLC, AM Transport, Angermeyer Electric, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Brett's Car Care, Country Barns, Nolcon Marketing, Davis Brothers, Daylight Land Management, Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Diversified Instrument Services, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, DuBois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Duke Energy, the Dunkel Family, Friends of Mason Scheller, Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jason Rainey, Emerson Cattle Company, ERA First Advantage Realty Rodney Langford, Fort Branch Car Wash, Foster Construction, Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Full Metal Armory, the Grandmothers of Jackson Adams, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, Hobstadt Summerfest, Heritage Federal Credit Union, Heritage Petroleum LLC, Hillside Gardens, Hip Dentistry, Hoosier Pain and Posture, IMI Concrete, Engler Family Eye Care, Jarbo Tax Service, JMCO Technologies, Johnson Commercial Mowing, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Casey Gray, Fuquay State Farm Agent, Kathy Solman Photography, Kiesel Wagner Survey, L&B Boutique, Little Miracles, Lowry Ag, Make Your Mark, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, MyTech Systems, National Vet Help, Perfect Climate Heating and Air, Pole Concrete Construction, by Pro Rehab, Rawhide Golf, Remax Revolution, Ripco Systems, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating, by Sandy's Pizza, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Shearer Monuments, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Stodgel Funeral Home, Stodgel Monuments, by Tim Barge Seed, Tai Chow, Titan Construction Partners, Triad Fabricators, Titan Youth Football League, United Fidelity Bank, Vertical Tile Incorporated, Vicky Townsend FC Tucker Realtor, by Wash Boss, We Simply Clean LLC, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, and by Young's Auto Body. Now, The Nick Hart Show, a special production of the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department and 89.1 The Bash.
Hello and welcome to 89.1 The Bash, your home for the Gibson Southern Titans. It's the Nick Hart Show. My name is Wes Harness. Alongside me, Coach Hart. Coach Hart, how are we doing today?
Good.
Well, last Friday, Gibson Southern South Warren Special Teams showed out. Score being 45-28. Sucks, eliminate those special teams touchdowns, and it could just by chance be a win. But tell me a little bit how you felt about the game on last Friday.
Well, I mean, the first thing is, because before I start talking about it, I want to get this point, like we always go to win. And we schedule these games to win the football game. But I was proud of the way our kids performed and played, especially early, giving up all those special team scores, to fight back and make it a 7-point game and have the ball with a chance to go down and tie it. I think it says a lot about our football team, how they kept playing and competing, and not giving up. It would have been easy after the first 3 special team scores to, kind of fold up shop and move on to the PAC slate, and our kids, continue to compete and play, I thought, at a high level. And certainly, we got to do some better things on special teams. I got to do a better job of coaching them. We got to get some different guys in, I think, in some different spots. And we got to do a better job. And part of it too is, I mean, they had some dudes back there, to make plays. It's a combination of all those things. But, I thought offensively and defensively, we played at a high level against, we're 2-2. Our 2 losses are to the number 1 team in 4A in Kentucky and the number 3 team in 5A in Kentucky, and they'll probably move up to 2 this week. So, you've played some really high level competition, gotten some good things out of it. Like I said, I thought offensively and defensively, we stood toe to toe with the number 3 team in 5A in Kentucky, and we got to do a better job on special teams. And again, they have some dudes that we probably won't play again, moving forward. But again, it's one of the reasons why you want to play those games, because you find out who can play at that level and who can't. And so we got to make some changes in what we do. But no, I thought, for the most part, offensively and defensively, we probably won the football game. When we go back and look at it, the 3 special teams plays are a 24-point swing, because they score 3 touchdowns and you take 3 off the board, on the field goal. And we gave them a short field for one of their other touchdowns on an unforced error on a fumble. We kind of spotted them 31 points but before the game started, and lost by 17. There's another time we get inside the 5 and we don't score. That game could have flipped really easily. So I think for us, building for the future, there's a lot of great things to take from that game. One is the great things that we did and showed the level that we can play at, and 2, the things we got to fix to be able to beat a football team like South Warren.
No, I completely agree. Seeing that offense, specifically the one thing that comes to my mind is, the start of that second half, Gibson Southern starts with the football, drives it down, gets a score. The defense doesn't slow up at all, getting a big 3 and out. And then Gibson Southern's offense getting the ball back again, putting another 7 on the board, doing that all within 5 minutes of a football game. There's a perfect, a perfect moment to that's where this Gibson Southern team can be. Saw some really great and saw a lot of momentum, shifting for Gibson Southern side in that second half. But South Warren, they've just got some athletes in a lot more places, got a lot more guys to choose from, being a 5A school. Extremely happy with their performance Friday night as well. And I think, a game like that, it is a loss, but you could take a lot more out of that than, the Princeton game. So I think, you do a great job with who you schedule, how you schedule. And I think that's what makes your team a better team overall when it comes to playing in the pocket.
Yeah. Now we got to do a good job. And one thing we talked to the kids about, I felt like last year when we beat South Warren, we kind of let down going into the PAC slate. You play these big schools, and then you come down and you're playing your peers. And I thought last year when we kind of hit this stretch of the schedule, we didn't play at the level that we did to beat South Warren and New Albany and some of the teams we played last year. So that's a big point of focus for us this week is we've learned how to play at a really high level and how fast and physical we have to play to compete with teams like that. And we have to keep that going here as we go into the second half of the regular season. If you don't carry that over, there's no point in going to play these teams. We've got to, if you're not going to carry it over, you might as well, schedule, the cupcakes that you're going to beat. So we got to continue to play it. We've learned how fast and how physical we have to play to be successful against teams like that. And we have to carry that over. It doesn't get any easier. The size of the schools change these next couple of weeks, but schedule wise, it doesn't get any easier. You got 2 really good football programs coming in here the next 2 weeks, and we got to continue to play at that really high level.
Yeah, but with that, we will take a quick break. When we come back, talk a little bit about Southridge coming up next week. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash is made possible by Full Metal Armory, the Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Foster Construction, Fort Branch Car Wash, ERA, First Advantage Realty, Rodney Langford, Emerson Cattle Company, Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Jason Rainey, the Dunkel Family, Friends of Mason Scheller, Duke Energy, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, Diversified Investment Services, Daywig Meats of Hobstock, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, Country Barns, Nolcon Marketing, Brett's Car Care, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Engermeyer Electric, AM Transport, All Trade Solutions LLC, AgriGold, ADG Architecture and Design Group, and by A&T Concrete.
Hello and welcome back to 89.1 The Bash, your home for the Gibson Southern Titans. Alongside Coach Hart for the Nick Hart Show. Talked a little bit about last week's game, and there's a lot more things you can learn from a loss and a win. So playing some big teams really helps, I feel, a team in the long run. But enough about last week. Got that out of the way. We've got Southridge, big conference matchup coming up on Friday. Coach Hart, what's a few things we need to worry about from Southridge?
Well, Southridge always plays it extremely hard. I think when you look at them offensively, they've changed over the years from the true wing tee to the shotgun wing tee. But the principles stay the same. They're going to run buck sweep. They're going to run jet sweep. They're going to run the quarterback on ISO off the jet sweep. All those type of things, a lot of misdirection. They hit us on a couple of throwbacks last year, which falls into the misdirection line. So you got to be really disciplined whenever you play them. And I think, sometimes you can talk about discipline, and you play slower, making sure you're doing the right thing. And they're so physical at the point of attack that, if you slow down, they're just going to absolutely, grind you down. So you still got to play fast, but you got to know where your keys are at. You got to know what your assignment is. So you can play fast, but also, disciplined. They do an excellent job. I think their system is one of the better ones where they know, okay, they're taking this away, so we're going to this. They're doing this, so we're going to do that. They have an answer for everything. So you have to also have the answers. The answer to the answer. So I think they do such a great job offensively with what they do, and it presents a lot of challenge to you as a defense. But defensively, they really gave us some fits last year out of their odd front. They move around a lot up front. So again, it kind of goes back to being disciplined, following our rules. I think I was very critical of our offensive line after the Mount Carmel game. The past 2 weeks, they've played extremely well. I thought South Warren was really good up front. And I thought we did a great job in pass protection at the point of the attack in the running game last week. So I think our offensive line continues to improve. And, it's another test this week because they have some game wreckers up front. They're not extremely big, but they're fast. And they move out of it. It's a little bit different scheme than what we've seen with some of those smaller, faster guys up front and what they're able to do with them. But I think when you look at Southridge as a whole, like, they're not going to make a lot of mistakes to beat themselves. So you have to come out and beat them. They're so well coached and disciplined in what they do and play so physical that you have to match that and not make mistakes, because they're not going to make mistakes. So your mistakes get amplified whenever you play these guys.
Yeah, I completely agree. Growing up, Southridge was the one team I never looked forward to playing. They were always a physical team, and they don't have the biggest guys out there, but they're fast, they play hard, and they make everything pretty darn difficult to try and accomplish when you're playing a team like that. A little bit of the revision on the gun wing tee. That wing tee is just such a dangerous offense, because you're right. If you make the wrong decision, and it is very easy to make, that could cost you the whole play and could come up with a big score. just a lot of guys that know how to run the football, and then they'll lull you into sleep with a lot of these buck sweeps, a lot of these quarterback runs, and then they'll just dump a little play action over the top to the receivers. So a lot of dangerous things that can happen from this Southridge offense. But for Gibson Southern's offense, what are some places you kind of want to attack this Southridge defense, you think?
Well, I think we kind of talked about it. It starts up front, picking up, their movements up front is, we're not going to win the play, if we don't do that. I think that's the most important thing for us is to, find a way, be good in our scheme and in our rules, and making sure that we're picking those movement up front. They're so active and disruptive. You can be in 2nd and 12 really, really easy. And last year in this ball game, that's where we found ourselves a lot, was in 2nd and 12s and stuff. We weren't winning on 1st down. And then, if you're not on schedule, you're really up against it. So, picking up their movements and stuff and being sound in what we do, and winning on 1st down. So we have some manageable situations, as we move through the drive.
Mm-hmm. And with that, we'll go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, more Gibson Southern Southridge football. Big game coming up on Friday. This is only the 2nd conference game of the year so far. And we're already pretty much halfway through the season. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by National Vet Help, My Tech Systems, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, Make Your Mark, Lowry Ag, Little Miracles, L&B Boutique, Kiesel Wagner Survey, Kathy Solman Photography, Casey Gray, Fuquay State Farm Agent, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Johnson Commercial Mowing, JMCO Technologies, Jarbo Tax Service, Engler Family Eye Care, IMI Concrete, Hoosier Pain and Posture, Hip Dentistry, Hillside Gardens, Heritage Petroleum LLC, Heritage Federal Credit Union, Hobstadt Summerfest, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, and by the grandmothers of Jackson Adams.
Hello and welcome back to 89.1 The Bash, your home for the Gibson Southern Titans. This is the Nick Hart Show. Talked a little bit about South Warren game on Friday, what to expect from Southridge. Always a tough team, always a physical, fast-playing team with that wing T offense. We kind of talked a little bit about it. But with practices this week, are you guys still planning on? Have you still been doing the big on big, or was that kind of just a kick in the behind for the team to kind of get fired up a little bit?
Yeah, we still go best on best through practice. Think it's important to have some of that competition as we go through the week. Our linemen need to it doesn't need to be a long period, but our linemen need to try and block, Brody Clem and Ryan Hart and get up to the Rose guys at 2nd level, and, vice versa. So, you kind of try and manage that where you're not getting guys banged up, but you're getting that good varsity look, combined with, then obviously you're going against the scout team, getting ready for a team like Southridge. So, yeah, we'll continue to do that throughout the season, and just kind of mix it in. It might be more some week, less some week, but I think it's important to kind of see that best versus best, and have that competition going in practice.
Yeah, I think it really helps. You've got those interior 4. I know Clem's bounced around and kind of gone to end a few times in some games and some drives, but I think that your interior 4 with the Rose boys, Reinhardt and Clem, is just the perfect test for that offensive line. That may be one of the best interior 4 guys that they're going to face in between those 2 guards, probably for the rest of the season. I'm going to face some good players without a doubt, but as a unit, I think this Gibson Southern defense has really played extremely well. You want to say, we could say despite the Ball County game, but I still think they turned the tides in that second half too. So,
Mm-hmm.
How much easier has it made your job really with having, some big guys that just know how to get involved and, play some really good football.
Yeah, they're playing really well. I think, another thing too is some of the experience we have on defense. We're more multiple than we've been in the past, and I think that's important. I think, we play a lot of good teams and a lot of good coaches, and if you kind of just line up and do the same thing every play, you kind of become a target, and it's easy for whoever's calling the plays for the other team to know what you're going to be in and dial up a good play. So I think our defensive staff's done a good job of adding some wrinkles and some movements and stuff like that to, and changing up coverage where we're not in the same look every single snap. And, that gives you, an advantage as well. But I think, our guys on defense are doing a great job. You can't take points away, but when you look at it, a team that we played last week that's averaging over 40 points a game, they scored 45, but 21 was on special teams and 7 was on the short field. So you take 28 away, and our defense really held them to 17 points. So I think they're doing a tremendous job, and hopefully we can keep that going on Friday.
Yeah, I think that South Warren game, they just had, big plays at the right time
Yep.
that put them in good position. Gibson Southern not shying away from any big plays either. Tanner Boyd making some great passes. Sean DeLong running the ball. I thought he ran the ball extremely well on Friday. Saw a couple plays where, he kind of had to make some adjustments. And I started to see those guys. I feel like there's a lot less of the, breaking down, trying to make a cut, make a guy miss to where they're just, herring as well, finding that little seam, planting that foot, digging into the ground and just getting what they can. I, being a running back, I love watching guys run the ball. I love, seeing how they read the field. And, I didn't really get to see a zone offense until college at UIndy. So, still a learning progress for me, but I know DeLong loves that little the zone, inside zone, and gets to, make those linebackers guess. And usually they guess wrong when he's in the backfield. Always love watching the running backs.
Yep. And I think we're playing better up front, right? And that makes it easier to kind of make that one cut and go because we're getting some movement up front, and guys are accounted for. Those guys up front can, and Sean's a tremendous back. Those guys up front can make you look a lot better. When the creases are there and stuff, it's a lot easier to make that one cut and go.
Yep, and we've got Southridge coming up. Let's take a little look at the big school division for the Pocket Conference. Right now, Heritage Hills 4-0 on the year, 1-0 in the conference, taking down Southridge in week 1. Trying to find the score here, 44-28, I believe. I could be wrong, but Southridge losing that week 1 conference, but they will be. Oh, and then following Heritage Hills, Mount Vernon 1-0 right now in the conference. Gibson Southern 1-0 as well. They've got Gibson Southern ranked 3rd. I think it's due to maybe the overall record, and it looks like just points from the games. But really, all in all 3 teams, Heritage Hills, Mount Vernon, Gibson Southern, tied 1-0 in the conference right now. Boonville, Washington, and Princeton with the 0-1 so far in the conference. But another thing, it just blows me away. It feels like we just started the football season last week. Here we are, week 5, pretty much at that halfway point. Overall, kind of, Coach Hart, how do you feel your team has grown as the season has gone so far?
Well, I think the biggest place we've grown is on the offensive line. We knew that was going to be a work in progress. You got 3 sophomores on the offensive line. 3 talented guys, but playing varsity football and all the defenses you're going to see is a little bit of a different deal. And I think those guys have really improved as we've kind of gone through the early part of the season and the non-conference part of the season. I think that's where our growth, has been the most.
And obviously, we're only halfway through the season, so there's plenty of room for improvement. Excuse me. But, coming up, two tough teams back to back in the pocket. Southridge small school, but got Southridge coming up on Friday at Gibson Southern. Got Heritage Hills coming up, back to back games. Usually two of the toughest teams in the PAC. Going to be two tough games. I think these games, playing a Bull County and a South Warren puts you guys in a great position. You played some really good teams, and it's not going to come easy. It never comes easy. But I think going forward, the schedule a little bit lighter than the workload in those first four games, despite Princeton. But really got some exciting games going on to finish the season. I think another thing that's great is, last year's team, Gibson Southern, undefeated regular season, beats South Warren in a great game, plays a few more games, gets some big wins throughout there. I think, you don't want to lose, but obviously losing, I think, we've mentioned it plenty of times, losing against a good team, seeing where, Gibson Southern needs to work on, I think is, a million times better than coming out undefeated, not knowing how to lose, knowing how to compete. But, sometimes when games like that happens, it's tough in those crunch times because you've never really kind of been in those positions. But going forward,
I think there's several times that in the old PAC where maybe we didn't face a whole lot of adversity through the regular season. The first time you kind of get punched in the mouth or face adversity is in playoff time. And then it's tough to react because you haven't seen that, you haven't had that feeling. I think we had enough adversity and stuff, happen on Friday night to last you a lifetime. And our kids kept responding well and through it. I think that'll pay off here as we go into the conference in the postseason.
The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by Perfect Climate Heating and Air, Whole Concrete Construction, Pro Rehab, Rawhide Golf, Remax Revolution, Ripco Systems, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating, Sandy's Pizza, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Shearer Monuments, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Stodgel Funeral Home, Stodgel Monuments, Timbarge Seed, Tai Chow, Titan Construction Partners, Triad Fabricators, TYFL, United Fidelity Bank, Vertical Tile Incorporated, Vicki Townsend FC Tucker Realtor, Wash Boss, We Simply Clean LLC, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, and by Young's Auto Body.
Yep, that's all we've got for today. Friday game will start at 6:30 at Gibson Southern. Gibson Southern takes on the Southridge Raiders. Lost their first conference game against Heritage Hills. They are in the small school conference, but don't take that away from them at all. They're a tough team. They're a violent team. They play fast, and they always, play forward. Always continue to move the ball, whether it be a yard or 20. Going to be a great matchup. Going to be nice to have another conference game. Going to be nice to be back home as well. Another Bowling Green trip. Always a fun trip to have, and was a great atmosphere at South Warren, but definitely ready to get back to Gibson Southern and get back to that home field, have that huge crowd, that huge fan base that showed up for the Princeton game. I'm hoping everyone shows up again. And if not, you can listen. Feel free to listen. 89.1 The Bash. Myself will be at every game on Friday nights. And, I think I'm going to have someone from Wabash Valley with me on Friday, but really looking forward to it. Love the home game atmosphere. Coach, what's some excitement about being back home again, for only the second game of the season so far?
It feels great, especially not to, make a 2-hour bus ride to go play a game. But, it's always great to be at home. I think we'll have two great crowds here these next couple of weeks, as these are big, rivalry PAC type of games. And so, that's, you love having those at home. It should be a great atmosphere. And I also want to give a shout out to our younger guys. Our freshman team went to Henderson County last week and lost in overtime. So went down at played a big 6A school out of Kentucky and took them to overtime. We're unable to get it done in overtime, but a great performance by them. And then our JV team defeated Sullivan 28-14 on Saturday. So we've had some JV games canceled, so it was great to see those guys get out and get to play some football this weekend. And it was tough for them. We got back at about 12:30 Saturday morning, and they turned around and played at 10 a.m. on Saturday. So it was a tough turnaround for them. And it was a tough turnaround for me, and I didn't have to play. So it was a great job of those guys of coming out and playing well, against Sullivan.
Yeah, good to see those younger guys, not getting wins, but putting themselves in great positions, playing some great football against some good teams. So really excited to see, what Gibson Southern's next elite team, varsity team could be coming up for these next few years, seeing some of these young guys go to action. But Friday night, September 15th at 6:30, 2-2 Gibson Southern takes on 3-1 Southridge at home at Gibson Southern. Going to be a great atmosphere. Going to be a great game. Everyone come enjoy, have a great time. It's going to finally start feeling like that boys of fall weather. Going to be cooling off a little bit. Not going to get those hot, muggy games. Going to be a little chilly. It's almost time for that hot chocolate to start being made. But that's all we've got for the show tonight. One more time, Gibson Southern takes on Southridge Friday the 15th at 6:30. Looking forward to everyone being there and everyone, listening to the broadcast. So that's all we've got for today. Coach, anything else you got for me?
Nope, that's it.
All righty. Well, everyone enjoy the rest of your day. Hope to see you all on Friday against Southridge. Thank you for listening to the Nick Hart Show and 89.1 The Bash.
Thanks for listening to the Nick Hart Show. It's a special presentation of the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including Young's Auto Body, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, We Simply Clean LLC, Wash Boss, Vicky Townsend FC Tucker Realtor, Vertical Tile Incorporated, United Fidelity Bank, TYFL, Triad Fabricators, Titan Construction Partners, Tai Chow, Tin Barge Seed, Stodgel Monuments, Stodgel Funeral Home, by Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Shearer Monuments, Scherer's Carriage Inn, Sandy's Pizza, Roberts Boring, Trenching, and Excavating, Ripco Systems, by Remax Revolution, Rawhide Golf, Pro Rehab, Pole Concrete Construction, Perfect Climate Heating and Air, National Vet Help, MyTech Systems, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, and by Make Your Mark, Lowry Ag, Little Miracles, L&D Boutique, Kiesel Wagner Survey, Kathy Salmon Photography, Casey Gray Fuquay State Farm Agent, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Johnson Commercial Mowing, JMCO Technologies, by Jarbo Tax Service, Engler Family Eye Care, IMI Concrete, Hoosier Pain and Posture, by Hip Dentistry, Hillside Gardens, Heritage Petroleum LLC, Heritage Federal Credit Union, by Hobstadt Summerfest, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, the Grandmothers of Jackson Adams, Full Metal Armory, the Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Foster Construction, Fort Branch Car Wash, ERA First Advantage Realty Rodney Langford, Emerson Cattle Company, by Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jason Rainey, the Dunkel Family Friends of Mason Scheller, by Duke Energy, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, Diversified Investment Services, Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, Courtney Barnes, Nolcon Marketing, Brett's Car Care, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Angermeyer Electric, AM Transport, All Trade Solutions LLC, AgriGold, ADG Architecture and Design Group, and by A&T Concrete. The Nick Hart Show, a special sports production of the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department, and your home for the Titans, 89.1 The Bash.